Rogers TV.
So it's a beautiful fall day, and I'm standing in the backyard of Ryan Traversy, Total Foodie, and there's no place better on the planet to be when you're a foodie than a backyard barbecue.
Right by the barbecues.
Awesome, Ryan. So glad you made it to be on the show. We've talked about doing this for a little while, and you've had a lot of things on the go, and we're going to cut into some of those things and unpack them. But before we start doing all that unpacking, let's talk a little bit about why we're here and why you've chosen to do this in your backyard.
Well, I just thought, a little off the cuff. We are in Ivy, Ontario, right?
Yeah.
Gorgeous Ivy, Ontario. And we're in barbecue heaven back here. So I figure we might as well, light some fires and, make some pizza. And
not a typical backyard, not by any means. Not a lot of people have the pizza oven. So tell me a bit about what you want to do here first, because you're going to make some pizzas and do that sort of thing. And then I'm going to ask you some questions while we're doing it.
Yeah, exactly. I thought it would be fun for us to just make 3 different kinds of pizza. The first one being a vegan pizza, actually, right? For all, the people out there that are,
the vegans.
The vegans. Right?
Okay, so I'll let you get started on that.
Okay, awesome.
So tell me this then. Why did we talk about pizza first? Because you were recently involved in a company for quite a while.
I was, yes.
And what company was that?
Pie.
Okay.
I was the director of operations with Pie for going just about 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you got to be a bit of a pizza junkie for that.
Yes,
yeah.
You really do. You have to live, eat, and breathe pizza every day.
Awesome.
So.
Well, let's unpack all that sort of stuff in a second. Tell me a bit about where'd you grow up? Where are you from?
Grew up in the beaches in Toronto.
Nice.
My whole family migrated up north to Barrie, and so since 2005, Barrie area has been my home.
Nice.
Right? So love it up here.
So what was it about that brought you up to Barrie? Was it just your parents, or was it what?
Well, yeah. My mother got a great job at RVH, and my brother just had his first child, so he bought a house up here, and I was like, I think I'm getting a little sick of the city life, right? So I came up here, worked at Horseshoe Valley for a little while.
Great spot to start.
Well, it was good. It was good. I worked in the dining room there.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
Nice, fancy.
Slinging drinks.
Yes. So after that time, where was it your first inspiration where you realized that you were a foodie? Were you like a little kid that liked to mix things, or were you just ever one of those kids that you could just eat anything, like you had a palate? What was it?
I've always been around food. Right? So, growing up, my mom always had something, typically Italian food, like chicken cacciatore or lasagna or anything. If she could put sausage in a pasta, it was always a big bowl of it in the fridge, right? So, I've always been around food. Went to university for food and beverage.
Nice.
And then worked for a great restaurant company called Oliver Bonacini in the city, right? For years and years and years.
Yeah, Bonacini's well done.
But it wasn't really until I got the job working with Randy at Oscar's restaurant. Really kind of everything just, kind of fell together, right?
And Randy's sort of a local celeb that people know for his wonderful foodiness as well too, right?
He sure
he's done a few things. Randy's something.
Things, yeah.
But Oscar's was a fantastic spot to start, because let's be honest. Let's talk about some of the best seafood you'd ever have on your life was when he turned into the Crab Shack or the
oyster bar.
The oyster bar, sorry, not Crab Shack, and it was all that wonderful seafood.
It was beautiful, man.
Really off the charts.
Doing all the lobster, doing all the oysters. Actually, it's funny. My stepson, at the age of 2, we were there, and he walked right up to the oyster fridge, and he said to the guy behind the counter, he's like, "I want to try that one. I want to try that one."
No.
He's 2 years old, eating oysters. So. Right after my own heart.
Oh, wow. See, I've got kids too, and I know what it's like when I've got one that just wants peanut butter, and the other one's like, okay, can I have capers? Can I have some smoked salmon? And I'm like, what?
What?
So much for grilled cheese and tomato soup. Right? So let me ask you this, though. I'm going to kind of intervene here for a second.
Okay.
What are you putting on here right now? You've got mushrooms and what else?
I got mushrooms and then roasted garlic. So this is the vegan pizza,
garlic.
right?
Yeah.
So we roasted a whole bunch of garlic. The mushrooms are actually cooked in a green curry paste, just for a little extra flavor.
Yeah.
And coconut oil, right? Because we're going vegan here, right?
Yeah.
So lots of flavor going on here.
Yep.
And then vegan cheese. There's nothing like a cashew brie to put a smile on a vegan's face. I'm telling you right now.
Well, I will give a slight shout out to J'adore downtown, because they have some wonderful goat cheeses and stuff down there as well too. For those people who can't handle the usual dairy,
yes, exactly.
Goat cheese is very different and closer to human milk, so it's a much different cheese. And so those kind of things, fantastic. So. One of the things I love what you're doing is you are not doing the typical stuff. And I'm going to ask you one question that has got to come from the heart. Does pineapple belong on pizza?
Yes, absolutely. I love pineapple on pizza. People get really upset about it.
What a funny debate.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not a huge pineapple guy, but I'll put pineapple on pizza too. What do I care?
Put the pineapple on pizza. But I got to be honest with you. So, I mean, at Pie, it was great because we not only put pineapple on the pizza, but we put toasted coconut on the pizza too.
I like that too.
Yeah. And people get upset.
Yeah.
They would get very upset about it.
Yeah, you'd be one of those guys that probably really enjoyed that movie Ratatouille, right? Like,
are you kidding me?
You're watching this rat throwing food together.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? So what is your favorite thing to make?
Well, 100%.
Pizzas?
Pizzas.
Yeah.
Love it. I mean, my kids, we love coming out here, lighting that on fire, right? So the story behind this is last year for my birthday, I said to my wonderful wife, Chantel, I said, love, I would like a pizza oven for my birthday. I'll even take it birthday, Christmas. All I want is a pizza oven.
Yeah.
So I come home and there's a pallet of bricks and she looks at me and she says, there's your pizza oven.
Yeah,
and
assembly required.
Yeah, assembly required. and I kind of looked at her and said, I use a hairdryer in the morning. Like, I'm not really good at of course you do, come on now. I'm not really like a mason or anything like that, but it worked out okay. It did okay.
So when you're making your pizzas, do you ever think about how the old English used to try and make things and they only use like 2 spices? And it's funny how they rated the world for all the spices, but they only ever use salt and pepper.
Yes, right? Exactly.
So what's your favorite spice?
Ooh, I got to be honest with you. Smoked paprika is probably the thing that I use the most of.
Yeah.
It just has...
Pretty understated too, isn't it?
It is for sure. I mean, people use regular paprika for a lot of things, but I use a lot of smoked paprika, like in an aioli, or if I'm cooking something in the oven, if I'm doing a roast or anything like that, put it on there, put on, chicken or turkey or whatever.
Yeah.
Probably right now, I would say that's kind of my go-to. The other thing I use a lot of, and I'm really into fresh herbs, but for dried herbs, just herb de Provence. Take it.
That's my favorite.
Cover
soup, everything. Soup, pasta, sauces.
Everything.
I've got herb de Provence. It's what I keep having to restock in my shelf on all my shelves.
Oh, I know.
All my spices,
yeah,
always, for sure.
It is a good move, yes.
So where did you feel the most comfortable learning about food and spices and all this? Like, did you just kind of wing it, or did you have sort of a mentor? Were there people that you watch? Was it Chef Ramsay?
Oh, well, I watch a lot of food shows, right?
Yeah.
Inspiration-wise, Randy obviously had a big part of that, right?
Brilliant.
But I love Mario Batali. I love Ramsay. But what I do love is just doing it myself.
Yeah.
You just try to figure it out.
Yeah.
It's like you look at it and say, well, you try it. Just try it. Yeah. Right? And 9 times out of 10, once you kind of get the hang of things, it really works out. There has been a couple times, though.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure sometimes when you're starting to put stuff... But you know what? That's how peanut butter and chocolate wound up together.
Well,
right?
exactly,
People put things together, and it's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
This is going to be great.
Yeah. What I have learned, though, is less is more. You don't need to put a whole bunch of everything in there, right? Less is more. Simple, right? Yeah. The Italians do it right?
For sure. One of the things I've realized, too, is when people try to overspice things, and it takes away from the flavor of whatever the actual meat is, for example.
Sure.
Like people who they'll spice chicken or steak all the crazy, and it's like, well, now I can't taste the meat.
Yeah.
Right? You kind of have to have it not too complex, but complex.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So what's your favorite thing, then, to be doing when you're not cooking? What are you doing when you're not cooking?
When I'm not cooking, I'm dad.
Oh, yeah?
I'm dad. It's funny. I never really, when I was in Toronto, thought I'd ever really have kids. But meeting my wife, and obviously now we have 3 beautiful boys.
Yeah.
I am pretty much a full-time dad, and that's what I love doing. I love baseball. I love skiing. I love watching hockey. It's consumed my life, but in a way that I love, you know? So
one of the things I think I've noticed, too, about you and about some of the other local foodies, like you've got Randy, obviously, and I'm going to stop calling Randy's name out every 30 seconds here. You've got people like Marco, who's been on the show as well, too, from the north, and even Rob from Kensington's and guys like that who, they seem to circle around other restaurants as well, too. They don't just go to their own restaurant. They're humble enough to know that their food is not the only food in town.
Exactly.
And they tend to hit other restaurants. Like I can go into some restaurants, like, the North, for example, or 147, and you'll see guys from other restaurants down there enjoying other food.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you have to do to really be a foodie, too, is be open to other people's food. It's not just what you make.
No, exactly. It's not just what you make. And supporting the guy beside you as well, checking out the competition too. You want to see what's going on there, right? But no, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, and Barrie does have a pretty awesome community of restaurants. Tons of local restaurants. Tons.
Yeah. And so some of those restaurants get a real showcase in 2 things. And one of those showcases is that whole curb appeal thing that goes on downtown, which is a wonderful celebration and really hard to get tickets for, but really fantastic. But the other thing that really gives people an opportunity to try these restaurants is Berrylicious.
Berrylicious.
And you've been the voice on the radio, and you've been one of the pioneers with that. So tell me a little bit about what Berrylicious is.
Well, Berrylicious, funny enough, I started when I was working at Oscars. It was, I'm going to say it was an October day, and I was working. We had 2 tables, so I got cut, and I went with my girlfriend at the time to Eastside Mary's. I had a lineup going out the door, thinking to myself, these big box shops have all this advertising, have all this money, right? And that was kind of where the thought was, well, Toronto does Winterlicious, Summerlicious. So we're like, you know what? Let's do this. So Randy and I said, okay, let's do it. And, you know, we had 16 restaurants. I had to, you know, lie, cheat, steal, beg to even get them up and going. Like they didn't want to sign up for a discounted event because they saw it as a discount, right? But
because people look at discounts and they think coupon, they think
exactly.
You know what? You never take somebody on a date and use a coupon, right?
Look at that little wish bubble on there. Yeah, sorry.
It's supposed to be bad for the stomach, but I'll tell you what, that's one of my favorite parts of a pizza is that black crusty. So tell me more about Berrylicious.
Sorry,
so then you're in this whole about Berrylicious.
Yeah. And when I worked in Toronto, we, you know, they used to do, it was $20 or $30, right? So, you know, being Barry, we're like, you know, okay, let's start this. We'll do a 3-course menu, and we just try to get as many restaurants on board as possible, and we'll do it for $20. And I tell you, we did pretty minimal advertising. Like Rock 95 really helped us out, right? By getting the word out there. And it just exploded. Like we got knocked on our butts, and we didn't stand up until for this whole 16 days. Like it was go time, right? The community absolutely loved it. So we're thinking, okay, let's do one in the summer, because the first one was in the winter. Let's do one in the summer.
Sure.
And then every year it grew, boom, boom, boom. 16 restaurants, 22 restaurants, 30, and now you know we've had up to 60 now, to the point where it's like, okay, it's gotten really, really big. Like we got to kind of, I've stopped selling it to restaurants.
Reel it in a little bit.
We got to reel it in just a little bit, right?
Well, it's amazing because a lot of people will look at restaurants around town. They drive past them. And they forget about it. You know, they forget that there's Terra and Taj downtown for Great Indian, and they forget that Il Buco was ranked in Canada's top 100 restaurants a few years ago.
Exactly, right?
Il Buco. You know, and so you've got these restaurants that people drive past. They don't really think about going in, or they don't even know about, or if they're new to town. And this is a great, you know, feature and focus for them to get out and try something.
For sure.
And it's not difficult to get tickets because the bigger you're getting, the more opportunity there is to get to certain restaurants.
Exactly. And, you know, it's great because these are real chefs, right? These guys are making things from scratch, kind of like what we're doing right now. You know, this isn't a Cisco truck.
You can say we. It's you. I'm watching you. I'm a foodie too, but I'm watching you.
It's, you know, like the Cisco truck backs up, and it's not prepackaged goods like you're going to get at the big box shops. You know what I mean? Like, things aren't going into a microwave and onto a plate. Like, these guys are spending a lot of time, right? And so, you know, we mentioned there's Indian restaurants, there's Italian restaurants, there's all these flavors in our community, and it's great to showcase it. People freak out for it. As soon as I do a Facebook post, Berrylicious is coming, here's the dates, boom, you know, it gets like 1,500 shares.
I watch for it as well too.
It's crazy.
So what is your favorite part about Berrylicious? What is your
Oh, my favorite part about Berrylicious is I get to go around and shoot videos. And so every day for the whole festival, Randy and I go out and we eat lunch and we do like a 45-second video, and they just bring us all this food. So we just go around and eat for 2 weeks.
Amazing.
And that is the best part about Berrylicious. And you know what? Restaurant owners are very thankful, and they're very welcoming. And they're like, you know, like, we'll pay for the food.
It's a huge compliment to have a customer.
Exactly, right? And it's just really nice to see. It's nice to see. And I love eating. So
well, you know what's funny is, you know, anybody would look at you and they'd think, okay, so the guy's a big tall guy, he looks fit, there's no way this guy eats that much. But it's also the big difference though between eating a bunch of fast food burgers.
Oh, you got it, man.
Versus this kind of quality. Right? So what'd you just throw on here?
Arugula.
See, I knew that. I'm just letting the viewers know.
Arugula. So
is that not the most pretentious word for a vegetable, though? It is, right? It is the most pretentious vegetable on the planet. Arugula and kale are so pretentious.
It's
right?
true, but they have, so, the arugula is also called roquette, right? That's what the English called, roquette.
I'm doing this.
I actually just squeezed a little bit of lemon on the arugula before I put it on the pizza.
Nice.
Just because arugula has got a very peppery flavor. Some say bitter, although you're not supposed to call it bitter. It's peppered, right?
It is peppered.
So the lemon just kind of tones it down, and because it's with the cashew brie, just a little bit different. So now this is neat. So this happens. These big bubbles happen on the outside of your.
Right?
Yeah. So that's from the proofing. So this dough is about 4 days old.
Okay.
And that's kind of perfect, right? Like that's really really soft and easy. But as soon as the heat hits it, it just kind of comes alive,
a reaction
right?
thing, right?
So that's why and I love seeing that. So some people might not. But anyhow, there you go. And there's your vegan pizza.
Cool.
Right.
All right.
Awesome.
So what's next? Because there are those of us that, as much as I do enjoy a good vegan for the health aspect of it and all that.
I know what you're saying. Okay.
Yes. So us red meat guys.
You want to do the red meat?
Let's do the red meat.
You want to do the red meat?
Yeah, man.
Okay, let's do the red meat. Okay, so red meat one is going to be good. So I smoked some beef ribs 2 days ago.
Yep.
And then I just finished them off, cooked them down in some red wine. So we have these beautiful braised beef ribs.
Nice. How long did you braise it for?
I smoked them on the smoker for about 5 hours.
Nice.
And then I braised them probably for another hour.
Nice.
Right, so they're really...
So they're right. So they're pulling apart.
Oh, they're pulling apart.
And
They're
it's
delicious.
like butter.
It's going to be
Perfect.
good. So, yeah.
All right.
So we're going to do that. And it's funny, I put corn on my pizza. And you never see corn on pizza anywhere. I actually, because I was getting a little low on ingredients once, my in-laws came over and I had bacon and I had corn. So I made a bacon corn pizza and I actually drizzled a little bit of maple syrup on it. And nobody spoke. They were just eating and it was dripping all over their faces. So
Well, it gives it a sweet factor too, right? And, and as corn heats up, it caramelizes because of the sugar content.
And it's a good little marriage, right? And corn in the summer too, especially like peaches and cream corn. That season,
and I'll put it on a smoker for 20 plus minutes, and it honestly it turns into a ginger color, right? And it's that sort of caramelly ginger, sweet. So corn in the dough makes sense.
Yeah.
Probably gives it a little easier to form too, doesn't it?
It's gonna be delicious. Well, I'm gonna throw it right on there. You wait until you see this. You're gonna love this.
All right. So what is this? Just tomato paste?
This
tomato
is
sauce?
So these tomatoes are from my garden.
Nice.
My stepson and I decided we were going to plant tomatoes this year, and man, did we ever get a lot of tomatoes.
Yeah, my tomatoes went through the roof this year. It was crazy.
It was crazy. So, and in here is just garden basil, some roasted garlic, salt and pepper, and tomatoes, and then I just blended it all together. Didn't cook it. Nice and easy peasy. Yep. Lemon squeezy.
There you go.
And it's going to be... Going to be nice and fresh.
Because you're not a dad saying stuff like that.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
So what I think is fun, and I think more people should do this, and if anybody's watching this show and has kids that don't eat their vegetables, plant a garden.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'll tell you, my kids were pretty young when they would go to the garden, and they would take a carrot right out of the ground, they'd go over to the garden hose, spray it off. Nobody gets sick from garden hose water. It's the same water, right? And they would eat the carrots.
Yep.
Sometimes they wouldn't wash it very well, but who cares what's a little dirt, right?
Yeah.
And they would just eat it. Oh. And now they like cucumbers. My kids will eat tomatoes right off the vine. Like they just eat them like they're little apples, right? And that's a great way for kids to get interactive because if they feel they participated, and again, that helps them with their palate growing up as opposed to wanting just, French fries and chicken fingers.
Oh, yeah, right? You know what? And we're really lucky in our house because we don't eat a lot of that, and I'm constantly cooking things. So my kids have my youngest kind of has the hardest time with it. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, my kids will go. Like Harlan, my middle son, was just eating the chives the other day, just sitting there eating chives right out of the garden. Yeah. Like, okay, now you stink like onions, but hey, at least you're not. At least you're eating them. At least you're eating them, right?
Yeah. Nice. So what are we throwing on here next? This is the braised.
So this is the braised beef.
Let's show that to the camera a little bit, just so people can see this.
Right there. Yeah.
Okay.
So I heated it up a little bit because I think you can just see it just pulls right apart. And this is on the smoker in that red wine. And I'm telling you, wait till you have this.
Yeah, giddy up.
It'd be outstanding. I might even send one of these home with you.
Really?
If it makes it home, you're gonna.
Oh yeah. Well, I'll see what I can do to share it. My girlfriend doesn't eat red meat, but she will definitely enjoy anything fish or chicken and that kind of thing. And I'm gonna try and carry some of the things I learned from you today a little bit with that aspect as well too. Oh man, that looks good. It smells amazing out here. So, what is it then that makes you want to be outdoors more than indoors when you're cooking?
It's just something about being outside.
Yeah,
you know,
we are men, we make fire kind of thing.
Exactly. And, you know, it's a shorter season, too, right? I mean, because, you know, wintertime, I can't light this up in the winter. You know, you can barbecue in the winter on the gas grill or whatever, but, you know, this with an open face, I can't be out here cooking with it. So it's a short season. So, you know, get outside. Enjoy it outside, you know, have a beer, have a glass of wine, right?
Yeah.
Or a couple if you want.
And you spent some time working in the wine industry and doing pairings and stuff too. So that kind of thing is another thing that is one of your fortes.
Yeah,
Were you a sommelier or did you ever?
No? I wasn't a sommelier. I did first course towards that.
Yeah.
But no, I never got my papers. But I do know my way around a bottle of vino because, again, this is something that I've just had a passion for my whole entire adult life, right?
Yep.
Is wine. And I work for Peller Estates, which is Canada's largest Canadian-owned wine company.
Sure.
And it was
great
amazing.
Niagara region stuff. It's fantastic down there.
Oh yeah, and they also own 4 wineries in British Columbia as well. So we even went to BC, and it's, you know, there's something to be said about, you know, just cruising around doing wine tastings. It was awesome. It was a good job. It was a good job.
Having somebody else drive for you, of course.
Yeah. Exactly.
There
right?
you go.
Yeah.
So what is it then? So now I'm going to back up a little bit then to the whole career thing here. So since you've now left Pie just even recently, and now you're just sort of, you know, working on what it is you want to do next, what do you see is next for Ryan Traversy in the world? What are you looking at doing next?
You know, that's a really good question. Well, when I left Pie, focused on the family, and you know, we're off to Italy next week.
What a great spot to work on some food.
Yeah, my wife and I are going for 8 days. We're going to backpack through Tuscany, actually. So I think that's going to provide some inspiration, and we'll see what comes. But
something tells me that backpack's going to be making a lot of glass clinking noises and behind
I
you full of wine bottles.
Exactly.
So, why'd you choose Tuscany? Just because it's also wine and food central in Italy too, right?
Oh yeah. Oh no, for sure. And you know what? We've been trying to get there. Over to Italy, like I've never been.
Yeah,
we've been trying to get there, and it never really happened. And then Chantel just kind of said about a month and a bit ago, she's like, okay, let's just do it, just book it, and then we'll go. And then my mom's going to take the kids, and because we're only there for 8 days, and I want to do so much that we literally are going to throw a backpack on and some running shoes, and we're just going to do a city a day, bing, 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 bing,
nice,
right? And eat and drink our way through the hills of Tuscany.
Nice.
Sounds
look for
awesome.
Some inspiration over there while you're there.
I think so, yeah.
What do you think, or what are you feeling is your groove where you want to be next?
That's a good question. You know, a lot kind of lies on, I mean, Chantel's in real estate, right? So, and she's doing very well with real estate.
Yeah.
And she's partnered up with Chris Messiker, so she works a lot, right? And which is awesome, you know, go get them, right?
Sure.
And it's been consuming for her. She kind of, you know, has put more on me with the family.
Yeah.
And I think the boys are starting to get to the age now where they're a little more self-sufficient, right? So, you know, next step for me, I'm not sure. I want to get into something new. I really want to sink my teeth into something new and something different, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, kind of what that looks like at this point, I'm not too sure.
But you're thinking still it's going to be food related.
It's got to be.
Yeah.
It's got to be.
Okay. So when you're not doing this and you're saying how much you like baseball and that sort of stuff, what is it that maybe you've had to go through to get here? Because not that I always look for the negative in people's lives or the negative stories and stuff, but a lot of the time some of the best stories or the best and most interesting things about people are the triumphs.
Oh, for sure.
Right? So where have been your struggles in doing all of this?
Well, you know, if you decide that you're going to be in food and beverage as a career, you are going to be up here. You're going to be down here. You're going to be bouncing around all over the place, right? So, you know, I think, you know, you get a good, in university they didn't teach me nearly what I needed to know to be able to kind of function in this industry. Like I said, you know, like I've been on the bad end of having to close a restaurant down before, right? But going through that, you learn so much.
It's humbling, but you take an inventory, don't you?
You do. You get it, right? And, you know, and so when you pick yourself back up, right? And you go at it, you know what not to do. And you know now, you know, kind of where your focus needs to be, right? So when it was 2012 that I shut my restaurant down. And, you know, I took about a month off. And then I got hired by Randy and Sarah to go and help run the farmhouse. And, you know, it really puts you to a new level of maturity, right?
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
It's true.
So when you're going through these moments, right, you think you're in this peak, you're in this wonderful, happy place, and then you realize the real world struggle of, you know, what you didn't expect and all the curveballs that you're a baseball guy, you can only swing at so many.
Sure.
Right? So it falls, where do you find your inspiration from Randy? Let's just talk about Randy for a second, because he's been inspiring you. Where do you find that inspiration? Do you see it in him as a business owner, or do you find it more so in the food aspect, or both?
I think a little bit of both, right? I mean, he's a no BS kind of guy, right? So he's always with myself and everyone, told everybody straight up how it's got to be. He's been good to me. I mean, not only is he one of my best friends, he's also a business partner with Berrylicious, right? But he also really helped me kind of, pick me up by the back of my shirt there when I closed the restaurant down, and he kind of got me back in the game, right?
Yeah.
And you got to hold those people close to you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the ones that you're going to learn a lot from, right?
Sometimes they just say, keep that circle a little tighter.
Yeah.
For the truth.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So how is this doing in here? Because all I smell right now is all these different oils and sauces, and it's pretty awesome.
Are you gonna try some pizza?
Yeah.
Okay, you might we'll give it a second to cool down a little bit. I think that this might be the one that you gotta.
Oh my.
That is the one right there.
So I'm going to hold this up just for a second so our camera guy and the people can see this and drool about that for a minute. That's awesome. That really is awesome. And, not everybody has access to an oven like this in their backyard. You just throw in some olive oil on there.
So when I roasted the garlic last night, this is the oil that I roasted the garlic in. So it's just a little roast. It's kind of like
garlic braising around it.
Yeah, it's like, like everyone loves garlic bread, right?
They do. And not vampires. But
okay, all right.
I'm just throwing that out there. But anyway, so
my ex does not like
dad jokes. And they're always in my head. And I'm like, I gotta hold those inside. So that's another one of the wonderful understated things for just that extra love, right? Is garlic.
Yeah.
Like butter, garlic, good salt and pepper, and then you just kind of go from there.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So how long do we have to wait for this?
Well, you tell me. It really depends on if you're ready to have a couple blisters on the roof.
Well, I do have to talk for another 5 minutes here on the show, so I'll try not to burn myself. We'll let it sit for a second.
So here we go. But I'm telling you, so this.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's where it's at right there. We'll kind of pull it apart a little. Just give it a little.
Breathe a little bit.
Give it a little second to breathe there. But there you go. And the best part about pizza is, and the other reason why I love making it so much is you can put anything on there, whatever you want.
Yeah. And people don't realize how actually inexpensive it is to make pizza.
Oh, I know.
And as a dad, sometimes it's great just to lay out the dough, let the kids play.
Yeah.
Because dough is fun. Yeah. It really is. And then you've got, you lay out 10 different things the kids can put on it.
Yeah.
I've got one son who, pepperoni, little sauce, little cheese, and I'm like, oh, whose kid are you?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then my other one's throwing, pineapple and onion and whatever else on there and having a great time.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? And then my daughter, she'll throw stuff on there and then she'll scrape it off after it's cooked. And she eats just the dough and sauce and then she'll eat everything after. And it's like, nice. So you probably see a lot of different things that are handed down from you to your kids.
For sure.
What's your favorite thing to do food-wise with your kids? What do you get them involved in?
So my stepson and I spend a lot of time kind of out here doing this.
Yeah.
If we can make a fire and cook it over the fire, then we're doing it. Like, this is what we love to do. Like, you steaks over the fire. We do anything really.
Yeah.
Right. Get a cedar plank out. Slap a big piece of salmon on there. Cover it with some maple syrup and soy sauce or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's just that's what we do. That's
nice.
My stepson is awesome because he will eat, like I said, anything. Like the oysters at 2, right? So you brought up the capers or whatever, right? He's the guy grabbing that sort of stuff out of the fridge to make it.
It's so good when they do that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's inspiring because it actually helps inspire you a little bit about what they like and learn about your kids. Like my girlfriend will do the same thing. She's taught me so much about foods she likes.
Yeah.
And I've learned all kinds of wonderful new things. And sometimes it's you and Chantel, or it's you and the kids.
Sure.
And you learn more about what you like. Mm-hmm. It's amazing how much you learn about yourself from the family.
Exactly.
Right? So if you had a real life lesson or a message to everybody about you or food, what would be your quote? What would be words to live by?
I think food just brings people together, brings families together, especially. Mm-hmm. Every night we eat together. I mean, it's a rarity they'll go eat in front of the TV sort of thing.
Yeah.
But getting the kids to help create, and standing around your kitchen island and just eating and dining and laughing, and that's what life's about, right? And this is kind of where it all starts. It's a very kind of, I guess, European way of thinking, right? But it's true. And
we had those rare TV dinner nights, or not TV dinner, TV table in front of the TV nights. Yeah. But sitting by the table, that's a really great message. We need to do that more and be as family.
You have to be, right? With all the screen time and everything happening, like that's a time unplug. sit down, let's have a talk. You know what I mean?
Well, I really love that message, and I want to thank you for being a guest on my show, and I'm going to dive into this pizza here in just a second, but I want to thank you for taking the time for being a guest on my show. Awesome. I've learned so much about you.
Okay, thanks so much.
Ryan.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Oh, I'm diving this. Oh, man. Oh, lost some of it.
Oh, yeah. We don't have any napkins, just got there.